right, so in this video, we're going to look specifically at parallel and perpendicular lines. So parallel lines are two lines that never intersect, they never cross, and the reason they don't cross is because they have a slope that is rising and falling at the same rate as it's running between the two slopes. And so parallel lines are going to have the same M, but notice in our graph, they have different B's. They'll always have different B's, but they have to have the same exact slope. If they have different slopes, then they're not parallel. Perpendicular lines have different slopes, but they have a specific kind of different slope. They are two lines that form a right angle when they cross, so these are right angles. But how that compares to the slope is the slopes are going to be opposite reciprocal. What opposite reciprocal means is opposite, you're going to change the sign. Reciprocal, you're going to flip the fraction. If you don't have a fraction, you need to write it as a fraction by putting that whole number over 1. So, and then they have different B's, which we can see that here. These two lines intersect the y-axis at different points. Before we move on, I want to look at just some examples of opposite reciprocals. So if I have a slope of 3/4, that's my original M, well, a perpendicular line would have a slope of opposite. So this one's positive, so mine's going to be negative. Flip the sign. And then flip the fraction. So mine is going to be -4/3. That would be the perpendicular slope. It is the opposite sign and reciprocal, flip upside down. All right, let's look at this one, -4. So I have a slope of -4. So the perpendicular slope, well, before I do any rewriting or flipping the fraction, I have to write this as a fraction. And so I'm going to write that as -4/1. Now, opposite signs, it was negative, so my sign is going to be positive. Now, I'm not going to write the positive, but I'm putting it here for now so we see it. And then I need to flip the fraction so that it is 1/4. Now, again, we would not write that positive, so we would just leave this as a perpendicular M, or the perpendicular slope would be 1/4. Sorry, 1/4. All right, so let's use this example and just look at this idea of, are they perpendicular, parallel, or neither? So remember, parallel lines are going to have the same slope. Perpendicular lines are going to have opposite reciprocal slopes. And then neither is going to be, they're not the same and they're not opposite reciprocal. There's something else. We don't care what. They are just not the other two. So it's going to be any variation that maybe they are slightly close. For what I mean is if they're the same M, they would have to be a slope of -2 and -2. But what if it's -2 and +2? Well, that would be a neither because those aren't opposite reciprocals, nor are they exactly the same. So in order to do that, I'm going to get them into y = mx + b, slope-intercept form, and then compare the slopes from there. So I already started it. I need to solve each of these for y, and so I'm going to add x to both sides here, and I'll have 2y = x - 2. Divide everything by 2 and get y = 1/2 x - 1. So I reduced this part and this part. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for the other one. Now this one looks a little different because it's 2x = 4y + 3. But I'm going to kind of move the y's to the left and then move the x's to the right. So -4y - 4y. And then I'm also going to -2x - 2x. So I've got two things happening. So the x's are going to cancel and leave me with just that -4y on the left. And then on the right, the -4y on the left. The y's are going to cancel and leave me with just that -2x + 3. So you could have done this several different ways. You could have moved them over in different steps, but here's just one example. Now I'm going to divide everything by that -4. Divide by -4, divide by -4, and get y equals 1/2 x minus 3 over 4. Now, thankfully, we're not graphing it. We are just comparing the slopes. And so the slope of this one is m equals 1/2 because it's the number in front of x. The slope of this one is m equals 1/2. And so because those slopes are the same, I can say that these lines are parallel. All right, next example. Example 6, I've got this problem that says write an equation for the line parallel to the line -5x minus 5y equals 8 through the point 2, -1. Put the equation in slope-intercept form. All right, so over there I've got some steps. If you're looking for parallel or perpendicular lines, you're going to find the slope of the given line, which I already labeled. This is the given line. Find the slope of the given line, and then you're going to use that slope and the chart to get the slope for the line you are looking for. So I've got a given line, and then I'm going to just use that slope to find my line. And my line has to go through the point 2, -1. This point of this line is just to get the slope. And so the easiest way to get the slope is to get it in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to add 5x, add 5x. And so I'm just solving this thing for y. Oops, and that should be negative all around. I lost my sign. So y equals -x minus 8 over 5. Okay, that is all the given line. And the reason I did that was because I need the slope of that line. Because it says that write an equation for your line that is parallel to this line. And so in order to be parallel, I need to have the same slope. Well, I need to find that slope. And so the slope here is going to be -1. So my slope is going to be m equals -1. Once I pull that slope out, I throw away the rest of that. I do not need what any of that is. I do not need any other thing from that line. A lot of students want to use that B and that M. Once I get the M, then I'm done with that. All right, so my slope m equals -1. I'm now going to use that slope and this line this point to -1, and that I can now fill in to find my B. So I've got my x and y, and then my m. So I've got -1 equals m, but m is also -1. Times x, which is 2, and then plus b. So I've got -1 equals -2 plus b. Add 2 to both sides and get b equals 1. So my final answer is going to be my equation, y equals m, -1, but I don't need to write the -1, mx plus the b I just found, plus 1. And that is my final answer.